Hello, everybody, and welcome to Award Travel 101 Live. I'm your founder, Richard Kerr, and this is my much better-looking second half. Really makes us whole. Emily Kerr, who is back on Award Travel 101 Live for the first time since October. And we are here to talk about the extravagant mouse vacation that we took last week. Emily, would you call it a vacation?
We had our 3-year-old with us. The baby, well, she's 17 months. She was with my parents. So we were without one child. So we were kind of on a vacation.
I think we had a great time. We're going to talk about all the details, a few things I do all the time. Hey, moderator Rachel Berkey is in the background working very hard as always. It's easier to sit here and talk. It's really hard to keep up with all of the technology and everything and keep me on track. You're going to see Emily and I glance off to our right, your left throughout the night. We're just checking notes and Rachel's talking to us, so don't think we have Tourette's or some kind of twitch and we're looking off to the side. A few things I always do if you're new to Award Travel 101. Hey, I typically drink bourbon every Tuesday night and Thursday night, but we're doing something a little different in January where we're trying to have a bit of a dry January. But because I'm here with my wife tonight and because it's almost February, I'm saying hello to the Argentinian Malbec. Emily, what are you drinking?
Tap water from our kitchen.
Emily made herself a hottie toddy, but we were out of honey and bourbon, so she just had water tonight, which is perfectly fine. We'll be back with bourbon tomorrow night. Let me know where you're tuning in from in the comments. We love seeing the reach of Award Travel 101 Live every single week. A few exciting things that I like to talk about, what's going on in the group right now. Hey, our YouTube channel is up and running. We're close to 500 subscribers. We're going to meet that 1,000 minimum subscriber according to YouTube's new rules to make extra things happen for us. Rachel's going to share the link in the comments. Please subscribe. All of our videos are available for replay anytime on the YouTube channel. Great to see everybody tuning in there in the comments. Hey, Rachel, if you'll share that link for everybody so that they can join in the fun. You can always support the group. This is now my full-time gig. This is now Emily's full-time gig on top of watching the 2 kids. So remember to get your next rewards earning credit card through the links at the top of the group. Rachel is going to share that link as well. Emily, are you ready to talk about Disney cruising?
Yes, I am.
I know a lot of people are not cruisers. We went on a cruise for a honeymoon. Emily, you were not excited about that.
No, I was terrified. I thought it would be just scary, and I didn't like the thought of being out on the water. You know, I had seen Titanic too many times.
It is very true, yes. Taking a road cruising is just like Titanic. So, Emily, get us started. We're going to cover 4 different topic areas. Tell everybody about our cruising experience and history so they know whether they should listen to our opinions or not.
So, I believe that Richard has been on 10 cruises now. I have now been on 7.
Not counting the Navy, which would be like a year.
Right.
So.
We have been on 5 different cruise lines, including Disney. So, this was definitely not our first experience cruising. We've been on Royal Caribbean, Holland America, Carnival, and Costa. All of those joint together, separate and together. This cruise was a 4-night Disney cruise out of Port Canaveral. It went to Nassau, Bahamas, Castaway Cay, which was the private island of Disney, and there was a day out at sea, and then it returned back to Port Canaveral on Friday, which was the 5th day. And we're also not new to Disney. We've both been multiple times. We've both been as children. We've both been as adults with no children with us. We've been with our kids. And Richard, you've been alone a couple more times, I think.
So
like,
I don't
without
go,
either one of us.
I don't go to Disney by myself. Let's correct that so everybody. There was a press trip where they opened the new land last year that I happened to kind of finagle my way on, so I don't go to Disney by myself. Thanks for making everybody think that.
We just wanted to frame it. We like Disney. We aren't, so Thomas wore like one Disney shirt on the boat. Like that was kind of the extent of, I'm not a Pinterest kind of mom. We like Disney. He knows Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. He could watch a Disney movie. You know, we think it's fun, but we're not like Disney people, I guess.
So we're going to have Disney Files watching. We're not Disney Files. We enjoy the mouse and everything, but we're not crazy. Like moderator Rachel in the background is going to Disney next week, and she's giving me all kinds of grief for anything negative I say. So if you've been on a Disney cruise or you love Disney, tell us about it in the comments. Give us some tips. Tell me when Emma and I say something is wrong. And of course, if you have any questions throughout our topics, you can ask them. Rachel's going to catch them, and we will come back to them and answer them shortly. Okay. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the cabin. We had a deluxe ocean view family stateroom with veranda. That's a really fancy way of saying we had a balcony. I found a really great deal, and an overarching theme of tonight is going to be the cost of Disney cruises. In my experience, again, a lot of cruises, I look at cruise prices all the time, typically anywhere between 30 to 50% more expensive than the other lines. I happened to find a screaming deal with a veteran military price. It was, I think, all in $700 a person, including we had to pay for Thomas the same rate.
I think it was like a little more than that, but...
Which for a balcony cruise on Disney, anything less than $1,000 is really a great deal. So I got the balcony. I love going out there and relaxing and seeing the water. Again, old Navy guy, just can't get enough of it. And you really have like having the extra space of a balcony.
Can you confirm we did not use any type of points for this? This was money just that we saved.
This was
for
cash.
Vacation.
So I paid of I think the $2,100. I paid $2,000 with Disney gift cards that I bought with the Chase Ink Bold card from back in the day. You can't get them anymore, but I got 5 times points at Office Max buying Disney gift cards, and I saved $100 of the balance that I paid with the City Prestige card, so that we would have the travel protection, right? City Prestige travel protection interruption is absolutely fantastic and outstanding. If something had happened on the cruise, if something had happened with our flight down there and we missed it, we would have been reimbursed. So $2,000 in Disney gift cards is $10,000 Chase Ultimate Rewards, and then $100 with the City Prestige. So that's how we paid for it, and that was the cost. Really a great deal for a Disney cruise. Now, still a lot of money. And then I bought another $400 in gift cards to cover onboard expenses, and we really didn't spend that much money. But we went to the balcony cabin because of those reasons, and that's how I booked it. So tell me the pros and cons of this cabin of the Disney cruise versus the other ones we've taken.
So this was also the first cruise that we've ever taken with our kids or our son. We've always gone alone. Before, I've never thought about, oh, it would be nice to have a tub. This cabin had a tub, and I'm assuming that all Disney cruises, they have tubs in their room.
I think the new ships do, but some of you pros can probably tell us.
So that was nice. I mean, Thomas is 3. He could have taken a shower. I mean, it's not life or death, but it was nice just being able to put him in a tub. That's what he's used to. I also liked that there was a very thick curtain between our bed and the other half of the room, which was where Thomas was sleeping, so that we're pretty strict. I think our kids go to bed pretty early. They're in bed by 7:38. So at least one of us was in the room with him after he went to bed, so we could completely close that really thick curtain and be in the other side of the room, reading or watching TV quietly. So I really like that. Now, we've never taken a cruise with kids before, so I've never looked for that curtain. Is there a curtain like that in other staterooms?
I think there are dividers, but I was definitely impressed with the noise proofness of a curtain where we could turn a TV on and watch a movie while he was completely asleep. So that was a good thing. I did a walkthrough of the cabin, which I posted in the group with the fancy video camera thing, Steadicam I have now. So if you want to search in the group for the walkthrough of the cabin, you can see exactly what it looked like. Pretty standard, really.
Yeah, so on the whole, this was our 5th cruise line, our 4th balcony room, I believe. In your opinion, did you find anything particularly different about Disney stateroom versus the other cruise lines?
The only thing that was any different was the one door for the toilet and a sink, and then another door for the tub and a sink. A lot of people, that's a big deal. Somebody can go to the bathroom while another person takes a shower. In my opinion, if you're traveling with somebody on a cruise, you're probably not hesitant to do that anyways.
It's pretty close quarters anyway. So.
If somebody's in the shower, you can still go to the bathroom, but a lot of people like that. Hey, Tamara, good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Some regular watchers. In my opinion, besides that, everything else was pretty much the exact same.
Yeah, and again, we're not saying, oh, Holland America was amazing and Disney was terrible because of this. I honestly, if I was blindfolded and I didn't know what cruise line I was on, I probably wouldn't have known where I was based on the stateroom.
The lampshade had little Mickeys on it.
Yeah, oh yeah, and the bed, the thing at the end of the bed, it had Mickeys on it too, but pretty subtle. So.
Yeah, it was subtle. So typically on cruises, you get there, the stateroom attendant introduces themselves. They walk you through the aspects of the room. You see them all the time. Our stateroom attendant was sick the first
2 nights.
2 nights out of 4.
So half of our cruise.
So we had different people filling in, so we didn't get to walk through and all that stuff. Not a big deal, but it was something where we tried to use the phone later, and it turns out we were using the wrong phone because we hadn't been told during the walkthrough and the normal meet and greet, hey, you got to use this phone. So not a big deal.
The substitute cabin steward, as well as our regular cabin steward, friendly, like wonderful, kind. But again, they were amazingly friendly. But I feel like all cruise stateroom stewards have always been really friendly. So
they are. So go back in the group and check out that walkthrough. And Rachel, please make a note here at the top to tell me to post that video again so people can see exactly what this cabin looked like.
And for anyone that's like, I'm kind of a paranoid person, like a mom, like I'm a paranoid mom. So the fact that Thomas was on the other side of the room by the balcony with the water, you know, maybe some of you are watching are like, oh, how did that work out? Well, there was a lock obviously on the knob, but then Richard discovered there was an additional lock really high up. So there was absolutely no way that he could have gotten out onto the balcony alone. So just to put that at ease, your mind at ease about that. Yeah,
definitely not. So like the other cruise lines, Disney has interior, which is no window. They have an ocean view, which is just a window. And no balcony, and then they have suites, and they have something they call a concierge level. So you can get these really fancy suites in the concierge level on the Disney Dream, which is the ship we went on. The very top on the 12th deck, they have their own special lounge and sun deck, and some really apparently great butler service. Now, for a 4-night cruise, in my opinion, with a kid, it wasn't worth it. Some people, that's the only way they'll go on Disney. The balcony or the deck that they have was not particularly large. It was covered. It has its own hot tub, but because it was a Disney cruise, the adult-only hot tubs, which we'll talk about in a second, weren't particularly ever crowded like they are in typical cruise anyway. So based on what I saw, again, I didn't experience it, but what I saw, I would not pay the extra money to get in the concierge level. Now, I know some people are going to say, that's because you didn't do it. Again, just my observations of being on a lot of different ships. I'm not sure if I saw anything that justified that. So, real quick, Angie says, you mentioned before how you preferred Royal Caribbean to Disney Cruise. Could you elaborate on why? So we're going to go through a lot of different reasons why. At the end, really, we'll say that we preferred Royal Caribbean. Now, that's not saying it's, Disney's bad. We'll get a little bit more details later. So, moving on from the cabin onto dining. So, we're going to go through the cabin, which we just did, dining, and then kind of the ship's layout and timing. So, tell me your opinion of Disney cruise dining.
Well, it was definitely different than anything we had experienced before. On all the other cruises that we've taken on other lines, you have one dining room, one table, one server, an assistant server, and you go to the same place every night unless you'd opt for like a buffet or something. On this cruise, there were 3 dining rooms, 3 completely separate restaurants. They didn't look anything alike. And you rotated. So you and your family, or whoever you were with, rotated through the restaurants. They assigned you, you were told where to go. But your server and your assistant server moved with you as well. I thought that was interesting. In my observation, I was like, well, maybe it's because there's so many kids and they get bored. I don't know. I couldn't really figure out the marketing, the Disney, why they decided to do that.
So about the food.
The food. I thought the food was okay. It wasn't anything great. It wasn't anything horrible. I never had any real problems with anything that I ordered. The dinners, they're more formal. We had the earlier seating, 5:45, and it didn't get over till about 7:15. At the end of the day, Thomas, he's 3 years old. Not the greatest setup for him. I honestly think that I was so distracted with Thomas, I just couldn't enjoy the experience. So I think that kind of fogged my my lens of having a quality. Maybe the food was good, and I was just so stressed with Thomas, I didn't.
Yeah, so an hour and a half is a long time for any 3-year-old to sit still through a meal. Now, they have crayons set up for them. They have kids' meals and menus. The servers will interact with them and ask questions, but it's still an hour and a half with a 3-year-old. If you have older kids, it's not a big issue. So it didn't bother me too much. I kind of went into it knowing that this is going to be a challenge to entertain them for an hour and a half. Disney dining. The different dining rooms I liked that the servers came with you. Now, we had an assistant server who was a little bit overwhelmed, which was a theme of all of the servers. They are so busy with so many tables that they were so rushed. They couldn't really talk to you. They tried to interact and be friendly, but they were running like chickens with their heads cut off throughout the entire meal. And it caused them to miss drink orders, to bring your own food. And it just wasn't very enjoyable and distracting.
Like, we were already a little stressed because of Thomas at the table with us and all the other kids we could see. So I think the fact they were kind of running around made us feel even more kind of not relaxed.
Yeah, not an enjoyable, relaxed atmosphere. Very loud in the Royal Palace dining room on Pirates Night. Now, if you've never done a Disney cruise before, one night they designate Pirates Night, and people lose their cotton-picking minds.
They do. Everyone
over Pirates Night.
We were in regular clothes, and I was like, I was having the mom guilt. Oh, did Thomas need a pirate suit or something?
They did. So Pirate Night was very loud, where we couldn't hear each other or the waiters, and it was just kind of chaos. So it's not relaxing dinner. And then you get down to food quality, and in my opinion, Disney food quality was the worst of all the cruise lines. They could not cook a steak or a tenderloin to save, their keister. It was just really, really well done, overcooked, mass-produced food. The menus were rather boring compared to the other cruise lines. Maybe they have to dumb it down for the kids, but that didn't make sense to me because there's a separate kids menu that they can dumb down. There just wasn't any, culinary experience from eating the food or from looking at the menus. Standard cruise fare, you got a meat, you got a chicken. They threw in an Asian dinner, but it was pretty bland. And again, the meat was just really, really well done. Even when you asked for medium or medium rare, you got it, and there wasn't any pink.
Now, I will say, however, kind of on the flip side, I mean, Thomas, he has never had so much kid food in his life. I mean, Thomas was like in heaven, like all the macaroni and cheese he could want. Ice cream, all this, like, all the terrible food was, like, good. Chicken fingers, all that kind of stuff was good. And I did actually like that the kids were, they were served on a plate that was, like, a Mickey head. And they did have, like, a side of vegetables, like broccoli, carrots, cauliflower, that kind of thing. So, I mean, I really like that as a mom who tries to feed, healthy stuff to the kids. So he wanted macaroni and cheese and he got it, but then he also like had the option of the vegetables too, I guess. So I thought that was nice.
I thought the buffet was exactly like every other cruise line buffet.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to wow you, but it's going to be perfectly fine. The service there was great. The guys, like all cruise lines, work the mornings and lunchtime at the buffet, and then they serve you, for dinner at night. They helped you out when you saw you were by yourself if I was still in the room.
Yep.
Very attentive to kids. Great. So just like any other cruise line buffet, but the main dining room, which we particularly enjoy going on cruises, is dinner time. I will say that other cruise lines do have the opportunity to sit with strangers at your table, and you meet them on the first night, and some people enjoy that and some people don't. In Disney, they only sit you with who you're traveling with. So we just had a table with the three of us. Other large families had their own table. And when you rotate through the dining rooms, you're only going to sit with the people you're traveling with. So if you have anxiety about meeting new people or strangers, it's not a problem with Disney. You're only going to sit by yourself. We've had really great luck in the past on cruises. We're still Facebook friends with several people we sat through. Just ran in and took the same flight to San Francisco last month with a girl we took a cruise with in 2013. We've had really good luck with the people that we've sat with most of the time. There was one Carnival cruise where we had, not so good seatmates, but you still make it work. And it's great not to be doing this in your phone, which I do for a living now, and to talk to people and meet new strangers. So
yeah, but I didn't want to sit with anyone. With the kid, I just didn't, it was already going to be enough with Thomas there, so I didn't want to sit with anyone. So I was kind of glad that it was just like our little family.
Yeah.
But.
So Disney dining, in my experience, if you like sitting with the only people you're going to travel, you like it. If you want a different change up, there's 3 dining rooms. The animators' palette was, surrounded by TV screens. They do an interactive Crush the turtle from Finding Nemo. They call it a show, but he just kind of pops up every now and again. Great decoration. Royal Palace is based off of the ballroom from Beauty and the Beast, and they have different princesses and, pretty impressive decorating, but the food and the service was rushed and not good. And
yeah. Our head server, they were both nice as they could be. Like, our head server was actually really great. They just needed, I honestly think if they could just not have as many tables, they could just focus a little more and just
and of course, we went with the 3-year-old, which was our decision. We did leave the baby at home, but if you're eating an hour and a half dinner with a 3-year-old and Thomas is pretty well mannered, it's still a bit of a challenge.
Okay, let's go back to dining. One night we did opt to put Thomas in the kids club so that we could have a little bit of our dinner alone, and that was nice. So you do have the option. We weren't stuck with Thomas. He was. We could you can totally do your own, thing with that. So.
Yeah. So talking about the kids club is a good segue to our last topic before we take questions and comments. And I see you guys popping up, and I want to read those a little bit later. Disney Kids Club, really interesting setup compared to the other cruise lines, which I was kind of expecting based on what I read, but I didn't quite comprehend it until you're on the ship. So give us a quick breakdown of the two options that you have on a Disney cruise.
So this was my personal biggest disappointment. At least on this ship, and I think at least on the sister ship. In theory, there are 2 kids clubs, 3 to 12. In theory, there is the Oceaneers Club, which is for the younger kids, maybe 3 to 7 or something. And then the Lab, which is for kids a little older, up to 12 years old. They have their own entrances. They have their own little activities. They have their own counselors. So in theory, again, 2 separate clubs. In reality, it's actually one big club. They're connected by a little cafeteria area where they feed the kids if they're there during meal times. The kids, there are tons of counselors. I mean, all friendly as could be, but none of them, it wasn't like direction. There wasn't a counselor taking like little kids under their wing and like, hey, let's go do this activity. It was basically just like, in my opinion, like glorified babysitting. The kids could just do whatever they want. Now, if you have like a really go-getter kid or an older kid, that might have been like perfect. Thomas, he's 3. He's really social, but his personality, he was honestly like really scared. He never wanted to go in. And that was weird for him because he's usually really excited to go into childcare settings. Even the first or second time, when he met our new babysitter, he was happy with her. So the fact that he didn't want to go in because he felt so overwhelmed was like, okay, maybe he really is scared. So I was really disappointed that was kind of like the kids club setup. And it was just like kind of chaotic in there, no like organization. And 3 and 12, that's a really big age gap.
So you have 2 options. There's a nursery from, I think, like 6 months to 3-year-olds where you actually have a lot more attention. They have a nap room. It's a nursery is what it says.
Quieter
and then you have the kids club ages 3 to 12. We have a 3-year-old, so we could choose nursery or we could choose kids club. The kids club, Emily's saying, free for all, lots to do. A 3-year-old and a 12-year-old is an interesting dynamic. And from what we witnessed and from the feedback from Thomas, our 3-year-old, was that it was just too much, and he was uncomfortable in there. Now, if you got a 3-year-old that has an older sibling and they want to play together, perfect, good to go. In our experience, it was kind of like I can't stuff them in a room with literally 10 and 12-year-olds playing dodgeball.
Like newly potty trained.
And going nuts. So we put him in the nursery. He seemed to do pretty well in there the few times we dropped him off. He was hesitant, and again, born in Japan, lived in Virginia, now in Georgia. He's been in multiple daycares and CDCs and churches, and he's never hesitated once in any of these places to dive right in and be like the ringleader. I mean, he was just terrified on the Disney cruise.
And like the 0 to 3 is like a little babyish. I don't know. It was this is probably just, our personal experience with our child. So if we brought Mary, she would have been perfect in the nursery. Or if Thomas was 6, he would have been perfect in the kids club. But just him particular. So just know if you go and you have a kid age 3 to 12, that might be like, your situation.
Yeah. I know a lot of kids had a great time. We have a commenter that says, he remembers going to 10. Yeah, I'm sure if you're 9, 10, 11, it's perfect. And then they have a teen club for, 12 to 17 or so. Great. So just for a 3-year-old, we found that was really interesting dynamic. And the other cruise lines still divide them up much more into, I think, 4 different age groups where 3 to 5 are together. Yeah. At least I checked Holland American, Royal Caribbean, and Celebrity and Carnival, and that just made a lot more sense to us. So it was a little bit interesting doing that. But besides the kids club, I would say going more into a ship's activity thing, entertainment on Disney. The show's fantastic, true Broadway quality.
I was about to say, I haven't been to a lot of Broadway shows, but I kind of felt like it was like Broadway's
we've been to London and New York, and they met it. The Disney Imagineers, what they can do with a quote-unquote small stage in a cruise ship, and it's still a really big stage. It was super impressive. So the entertainment, really fantastic. The problem are the times. So the shows were either at 6 or 8 8:30.
8:30. Mm-hmm.
And we had dinner early, and Thomas is typically in bed by 7:30. So we could either skip dinner and go to an early show, or we could really stretch it and keep him up late, which we did one night, but we paid for it the next day. Mm-hmm. If you got a 3 or 4 or 5-year-old that can stay up that late, no problem. Again, we're not against it. It's just we know that the kid can't handle it, and we're going to pay for it the next day. So the decision of dinner or a show every night was a little bit taxing. And then nothing opened for dinner earlier than 5:45 so that you could get dinner early and go to the 6 o'clock show. So you were really stuck. Yeah. And that was just weird. We did things, late at night. I went out a couple times after Thomas was in bed. It's 10:30 and 11, and I see babies and toddlers still up. And
Again, totally, this is just not our dynamic. That's just not our family
if
dynamic.
You guys do that, I want to meet your kid because I don't understand how they function the next day without being absolutely miserable. But the timing of everything was just really weird to be kid-centric, where how can we not go grab dinner at 5 to catch the 6 show? Because by 9:30, when this 8:30 show is over, this kid's going to be wrecked and we're going to pay for it the next day. I don't know. It really caught me off guard for something that was supposed to be centric. Once you caught the show now, it was amazing. A brand new Beauty and the Beast show.
Yeah, it's great.
Designed by Disney Imagineers. Again, all the other cruise lines, nothing comes close to what they were able to pull off on this stage. So really bummed if you missed any of the shows because of your kids. So the time was interesting. What else do we have here on our notes?
The bar areas, so there were several adult-only areas, several bar areas obviously catered to adults. They were pretty well separated from the areas where kids, families were kind of going through. So, again, kind of pros and cons there. We had our son, but we maybe wanted to grab a margarita on the way, and there was not a lot of good places to do that. But if you're on the cruise with only your significant other or like some girlfriends or something, maybe it would be nice to just go to the adult-only section. So, again, kind of just whatever you're there for. I mean, they section them off, so you could be like just there or have like family stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people asked us, would you go without kids on a Disney cruise or another cruise line? We say no, just because of the activities that the other cruise lines offer all day, every day, geared just for adults.
We're like Grandma and Grandpa. We like bingo. They had bingo, but not a lot. And we liked going to the casino. We don't even gamble a lot, but it's like, $20 a day to gamble. There wasn't that on there, so. I think we kind of missed out on a few things like
if you're thinking about that, I can definitely see why some people enjoy it. They have something called the District on the ship. On the very back above the dining room was an adults-only area that had their own lounge, a nightclub, a wine bar, and a pub. And if I was just there by myself with some Wi-Fi getting some work done, that would be awesome. Or if I was there with some of the boys or my brothers, we could go catch beers all around there. You would never see a kid. You would never hear a kid. You would have no idea you're on a Disney ship, and you could have a really good time. It's just you're limited to that little bit of space compared to the other cruise lines that do other things. In the front of the ship as well, they had an adults-only sun and pool area. And then they also had their own bar underneath the pool with the hot tubs.
But kids walk through there. And I will admit, we did too, because no one was policing it. It seemed like that was just it was an odd... It's like segue to like
it was
a
main
stairway.
In order to get from the main pool deck for the whole ship to the elevator bank, you had to go through the adults only area. So families were transiting all day, every day because of that.
If I was there by myself, I probably would have been a little annoyed at that. But
it's just ship design. I'm not sure they thought that one all out correct. So I think I can definitely understand why some people go adults only. I don't think that's a bad decision. It's just not ours, and I think the other cruise lines offer much better entertainment product ships for adults only compared to what Disney does. If you love it and it's cool, Maradona was a bar in the back of the ship next to the two adults only extra dining restaurants called Palo, and then they had a French restaurant, Remy, French and Italian restaurant. People had wonderful things to say about them. We actually had a night cruise, but because it was only 4-night cruise, and we typically enjoy the dinner so much, and there were 3 different dining rooms, we felt like we didn't want to miss out on something, so we ended up canceling that reservation, not going. The bar is really nice. It's super empty. Anytime I went in there, I was pretty much me and the bartender hanging out. Some really good views back there. I would say, so I tried to order 4 different drinks, and 3 of them they couldn't make, which was super weird. I asked for a mint julep, he couldn't do it. I asked for a Kentucky Mule, and he couldn't do it. And I asked for the signature gin and tonic the last night at dinner, and he couldn't do it. So I was kind of like, All right, I
He was
understand.
just having bad luck.
Yeah, I'm on a Disney ship. 3 out of 4 they can't make, so maybe bad luck there. So overall, we'll say the ship design was pretty impressive. Really fancy areas for what a Disney cruise was. The dining room's all very well decorated. High-end fixtures. The shopping area in the theater.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice.
Oh, yeah.
Did a great job with views in the theater. There's no poles in the way or anything like the older ships. Top quality theater for watching the show. Marble floors, really great decorations. They had good layouts for where they did the character greetings. You can make lines and not be in the way of everybody. Plenty of character greetings. If
Lots
you want
of
to,
those.
if your kids want to meet all the characters, you got plenty of times. Tell them about the app that you like.
Oh,
so
yeah,
much.
that was like, okay. And again, we've never taken a cruise where we've had an app, so I can't compare it. But there was an app that you download, and you're not able to access it until you're actually on the ship's Wi-Fi. And within the app, you basically have all of the, basically all the itineraries, all the menus of every restaurant. So on Tuesday, I was able to see what the menu was for Thursday and just kind of go ahead and pick what I wanted to eat. Or we could see, okay, Mickey is going to be here on Wednesday at this time. So should we try to work it out to go there? You could chat with each other. You don't have service at sea. So Richard and Thomas are up at the pool deck and I'm in the room and I'm I'm going to meet you guys down for lunch in 30 minutes. So that was nice. And the app was free. So I really, I thought that was great. And I'm not like a technology person. So I thought it was super great and it was free.
Yeah. I agree with all that. The free messaging, particularly great when one of us had to take Thomas somewhere and we could find the other person rather quickly. They do have old school, what they call wave phones, which were like bricks. You don't want to carry that, just carry your phone.
Kind of like walkie-talkie type style or something.
So I'm going to hit a few more highlights, and we have a lot of questions. We're already probably going to be way over, but it's okay. Protocols. Nassau is Nassau. Every cruise in the world goes there. Take it or leave it, whatever it's worth. Our only advice on short excursions are book your own. Don't book through the ships, no matter what line you go on, because they're 30 or 40% more expensive. When the vast majority of these ports, you can get off and negotiate right there. So we went through Nassau. We walked through the main shopping street and came back.
I literally laid on a bench because I was so congested from a cold. I just was
We cannot shake this cold. Neither of us has been sick in forever. We can't shake it. Castaway Cay, or Key, I guess they say. Emily loved it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it was so
Wonderful
great.
beach. It's a great day there. Plenty of shade, plenty of umbrellas, plenty of activities for the kids, no matter what age. They have a kids club on the island. They have an adults-only beach. Wonderful place. If you can go visit Castaway Key, definitely take that.
Your ship's card. It's a private island, and it's only the people on your ship. So it's basically just an extension of the cruise onto land.
Yeah.
Thomas had a great time.
Lovely beach, perfect white, fine sand.
I liked getting off and just walking to a beach and not having hawkers trying to get me to buy stuff. So I liked just being able to get off and just do our own thing and still be, there was Disney stuff around and there was lunch there again, just like the cruise. So it was nice.
Really great.
Really
so
nice.
if you're taking a Caribbean or Bahamas cruise, I would definitely recommend catching one with Castaway Key instead of catching another Caribbean island. Caribbean islands are wonderful. We've been to a lot of them, but they just kind of start to run together a little bit. Nothing against any of the islands. They're different cultures. I know it's really great, but you're not going to really experience any of that in a 7-hour port call.
And unless you pay for a drink, like an alcoholic drink or even a soda at a bar, you're not paying for anything. So you're not, except, maybe like a jet ski or something.
Yes.
But.
The day at sea, I walked out on the balcony and saw a Coast Guard C-130 circling us with a Seahawk helicopter had just lifted off. Somebody apparently got very sick, and so we didn't go very far at all. We were moving about 2 knots the entire day until the final night, which had some really high seas, which I love just from my time. Because I know what actually bad seas are, and Emily did not enjoy the last night with the boat rocking. I loved that.
I don't like that.
And again, that was like a Sea State 2 on a scale of 1 to 6.
It was not even bad.
It's not even bad, but everybody's talking the next day about the boat rocking, and if we've really experienced bad seas, you know what bad seas are. So let's catch some of these questions because I think it's really great. Rachel's doing a good job here. We haven't missed any of them. Good comments. I know everybody's not going to agree with us, and then we're going to end with our final conclusion. So. Here we go. Steve says, we're going in June. I heard the food was good. Another cruise, I'm going to lose weight. I guarantee you're not going to lose weight. You're still going to eat a ton of food, Steve. Cameron says, did you guys go to Palo, the adults-only restaurant?
Sorry.
We didn't. We talked about that just a few minutes ago. We did do the adults-only steakhouse on the Royal Caribbean cruise we went on, and fantastic. I hear all of the adults-only restaurants are just as lovely. So Anita says the cost saving really comes in with a family of 5, where you can get a single room catering to 5. Other cruises you have to go 2 rooms, which would be more expensive. So a lot of different cruise lines are doing a lot of different things where you can get a family of 5 into a cruise right now with the joining rooms. So I'll fight back with you a little bit on that one, Anita. I'm not sold there. And again, I've heard a lot of comments about cost savings on Disney Cruise Lines compared to others, and so far I'm just not buying it.
Yeah, I don't. Well, yeah.
Brandy says, I'm surprised you guys really had interaction with your head server.
Oh, sorry. I don't mean like the head server who's over,
No, our server.
our personal server, and then the assistant. Sorry, I think maybe
and then
I
there's
used
a
the
guy
wrong
in a
term.
different suit who has like 12
I think that's
servers.
what she thought I meant. Sorry, no.
Michelle said, how do you find a repositioning cruise? Vacationstogo.com. Filter the destination by repositioning. It'll say Bahamas, Caribbean, South America, Mediterranean. Vacations2go, TOGO.com, and you can submit or filter this cruise searches and go to repositioning for the destination, and there you'll find it. You can save a lot of money on repositioning cruises, is probably why Michelle was asking that. Sarah says, hey, my daughter didn't want to go when she was 3 years old either. Yeah, 3 is a weird dynamic for a Disney cruise, which again, there shouldn't be a weird dynamic no matter what age a kid is for a Disney cruise. Our opinion, I know some people love it. So Thad says, hey, this is a good question. Does the nursery cost? Yes, it was $9 an hour.
Or you could do half hour, so $4.50 an hour.
Yeah.
And we never had any problems. I mean, I feel like the blogs that I was reading before kind of scared me into thinking that you really needed to pre-register. Maybe you do. Maybe we got lucky, but we never pre-registered. We just walked in. So
she means just reserving time when we're going to drop Thomas off.
Sorry.
We were able to walk in there anytime and drop him off. They were never full. Brandon says, how was the Wi-Fi on board? Really expensive. They give you free 50 megabytes, 50 megs. It's like one picture the first day. So I used it. I was really surprised with the speed, but after that, it was like $89 per 1,000 megs, and you're just going to rack up a huge bill. Other cruise lines now are offering $20 a day for unlimited free 2KU, which is a new high-speed satellite Wi-Fi. So I thought the Wi-Fi was good, but it's just going to be way too expensive. Do not go on a Disney cruise expecting to stay connected, which is why I didn't really exist here in Award Travel 101 last week.
yeah, like we planned his week around him not being able to work. So
a couple more questions. I think we hit all the top ones there. So we'll end with this because we're already 7 minutes over. Emily, tell me your favorite thing about a Disney cruise compared to the other cruises we've been on.
I felt like it was fun to take Thomas and see like him meet the characters, because we went to Disney World last year, but he never met like Mickey Mouse or anything. And I think I kind of liked rotating dining rooms.
Yeah.
But I guess it was mainly like seeing Thomas meeting the characters. The caveat to that, he could meet the characters at Disney World, and we could go on another cruise line, not with Thomas. So, what was your favorite part of Disney?
I've really struggled with this, and I'm not saying. So we had a great week. It was wonderful to not be in freezing cold Georgia, which whoever thinks Georgia's freezing cold, but it's really been cold this winter with cabin fever. Mm-hmm. So we went to a smaller cabin. I had a really enjoyable week. I love being on the water. I really do. I can be on the water all day. Every day I could live on the water. People are like, you just got out of the Navy and you're going on a cruise. Yeah, I like sitting on the balcony and looking at the water and feeling the boat move. But I'm having a really hard time putting my finger on anything that Disney did better than any other cruise line.
Disney stuff aside, that is like the underline. Clearly, like, you're not going to go on another cruise line and see all these characters. So, setting all the Disney stuff aside, we didn't feel there was anything particularly different about them than other cruise lines.
Yeah, so it really boils down to Disney cruises are more expensive than other cruise lines. A lot of people we met and some people I've interacted with online, they said, well, you don't understand, all the other cruise lines charge extra for everything. anything Disney charged extra for, adults only dining, the nursery, which is pretty much it, booze, everybody else charges extra for. Everything else is included. So, in our opinion, there is nothing that justifies Disney charging the prices they do, except if you want that Disney experience.
Our first goal was to go on a cruise. Our second goal was to have a Disney experience. So if your first goal is to have a Disney experience and go on a cruise as well, then maybe Disney would be good for you. But our main objective was going on a cruise. So.
And just because I happened to catch that deal kind of at the last minute here for a balcony, otherwise I don't think we would have booked it, and we would have booked something else and just taken the two of us on it. So no definite plans in the very near future to take another Disney cruise. We had a great time. My dad, Big Daddy Bob right there, is just asking what am I going to take my parents on. So Royal Caribbean continues to be our favorite because of the ships, the size, the service that we've had. Which
That's where we went on our honeymoon.
It is. I'm quickly racking up status with Royal Caribbean, and I am enjoying those benefits, and they only continue to make them better. I missed the casino. I really did on the cruise. After Thomas was in bed and Emily goes to bed early anyways, I would have loved to go on and sat at the blackjack table and had a bourbon and enjoyed myself there. So a lovely week. Really glad we did it. Castaway Cay was awesome. Yeah. I'm really happy to see Thomas get excited about meeting the characters.
Yeah. He was, though, a little young, I feel like. Or maybe just his personality. He watches Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, but as far as, like, the Disney princesses or, like, even, like, I don't know, some of the other like characters from the movies, he didn't know who they were. So maybe like if you have like a kid that's older or has seen more of the movies, they might know more of like the princesses or. Yeah. And but Thomas just didn't.
A great time and absolutely no regrets. I'm really glad we did. I've looked at those Disney ships for a long time. Maybe when the kids are older again, I think probably when our youngest daughter is maybe 5 and Thomas is 7 or 7 and 9.
Yeah, that would be a great time to go.
Great time to go again and let them enjoy that Disney experience and pay that extra money for it. In the meantime, I think we're going to stick to Royal Caribbean. Carnival, no, don't do Carnival.
Costa, maybe, yeah.
Costa was great, the European line, as long as we don't end up on the rocks of the Italian coastline like the poor Costa ship a few years ago. So, thanks as always for tuning in to Award Travel 101. Again, these videos are available for replay anytime on our YouTube channel, which Rachel can share the link again to one more time. And Rachel is asking me, can you really set the Disney stuff aside? I know you can't, Rachel. You're a Disney file, as well as all my other Disney lovers out there. I have nothing against you. I have a great time whenever I go see the mouse. But when I'm going on a cruise, man, I just want to be out on the water, and that Disney stuff I can set aside. Personal preference, but I had a great time. No complaints whatsoever.
Do you have to pay for Wi-Fi to use that app? No.
We've already covered that. You don't watch it every time. So, Rachel, if you got that link up one more time. Besides that, everybody thank Emily for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
And thank Emily for taking care of the kids for the next 4.5, 5 days by herself, as I am on the road headed to Facebook tomorrow and then Hilton Head, South Carolina for my younger brother's bachelor party. I'm going all the way to California tomorrow for one night, and I'm flying a red-eye back. I'm going to be a little bit wrecked as I try and recover and play golf in South Carolina. So until next time, next week, same time, same place, it'll just be this pretty face instead of this pretty face. I'm sorry, everybody. Any parting words for Disney cruisers, potential Disney cruisers?
See you real soon!
Oh my gosh.